Hi, my name's Kim and I'm going to show you my method of layering 3 layers. The first image, this image that I'm going to show you, is this Texas flag, and this is the original image right here that I have downloaded onto my scale program. I'm using the Sure Cuts A Lot 4. Same thing applies in 3. It's not any different. Okay, if you take this, it's going to break into 3, it's grouped into 3 different parts, and those are the 3 parts that you have, and so those are the 3 colors. This one is actually white, but I made it gray so that you would be able to see it a little bit better. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do with this, because this is my image, and then of course you would ungroup up here where you're going to have your object, and you would ungroup it, and then that's how you could break it into those 3 parts. But you don't want to do that first. The first thing you want to do is to go in, I use this. I use my library, and I go into this little plus sign. You could use any symbol, it wouldn't matter what you use. And I usually make it an inch, and I just put it somewhere here, wherever, and I'm going to make this a different color. So I'm just going to make it yellow so you can see it, what I'm doing. You don't have to, it's going to be whatever color you cut it anyway. And then I line it up. It comes out, when I click that, it comes out an inch in size. So you could put it anywhere on there. I usually put it somewhere where it's all lined up. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more here so you can see what I'm actually doing a little better. Okay, so now I can tell that it's lined up and I put it there. So I'm just going to copy this and paste another one over here. I usually just use 2 of them and put it on there. So once I have that, then I'm going to take this whole image and I'm going to group it together with my registration marks, is really what they are. So I'm going to take and drag the whole thing, come up to object, and group the whole thing together. And then I'm going to copy and paste it, and I'm going to do it 3 times because I have 3 layers. So this would be the image before that. This would be after I copy and pasted it. So I do it on these tabs up here. I do it 3 times because I have 3 colors. If I had 2 colors, I would just do it twice. Okay, so then I go in and let me go back to this one. I take this and it's ungrouped right now. And so I get rid of what I don't want. So I want 1 color. So these 2 things I would take and I would delete them, because remember I have 3 copies of it. So there's what I would have there. So I'd have a blue one. Then I come in here and I would, whoops, that one's not ungrouped. So I would have to go to Object, Ungroup, and take off my blue, and this leaves my red, or if I take off my white there. So then I would delete these 2. Now what I did from the original is that this is what they had for the original here. All of this red, that's what was sent to me right here. But I decided I didn't need to cut all of this because it's a little bit harder to line up, and all you really wanted was these 4 red triangles. So I took this red one and I did a break apart, and when I broke it apart, then I was left with these things individually. I took if you take this piece right here and you drag that out of there, see what you're left with. Then you could drag this one out, drag all those little stars out, and get rid of all those little stars and all those little things. And then I just took this one triangle and I copied it and I flipped it over and I put it right in there, because that's where you want it to be. So I just made it look like that, and I got rid of, I didn't need I didn't need this line, so I got rid of that, and I got rid of all those stars. So that's why mine looks like this, is because that's all you really needed was those red triangles. So I just made it that way. But notice how my registration mark is clear off to the side, and in the blue one the registration mark is right there. The registration marks you had to put in the very first thing, and wherever you put them on that very first thing, then they have to stay there, so that when you end up with them like this, then they are in the right place. And then here was my white one. So now I have 3 pieces that I have that are like that in the registration. So this is my blue piece that I cut here, and the registration marks just were blue because that's what I was cutting, and I weeded this out, and that's the piece that I have. This is my white one, and it has the white registration marks simply because that's what I cut. And then here was the red one. Okay, so I'm going to layer these 3 pieces on here. So to layer these 3 pieces, I'm going to start with this red one, and I'm going to put it onto the blue one. And if you kind of look through there, you can kind of see that it's going to line up just fine right there. So what I do that's a little bit different than what I've seen is I use clear tape, and my clear tape I put on there, and it was like this. And that, I have some extra over here. I have it big enough to fit over the whole entire thing. So I make my clear tape there. I then take this and I peel this off. I'm going to try to do this up here like this. And I'm going to put it, whoops, sorry, it's a little harder. You would do it on the table, obviously. So that all you have your white backing right below your registration marks, and you just have the red, this red covered up with tape. This would all be sticky here. So that would be sticky. Then you're going to take on the back of these, because what I found is when I didn't do this, that when I went to line this up, if I was off just a little bit and I wanted to move those registration marks, they stuck together, and then they were stuck, and I lost my registration mark, so I lost the purpose of those. So what I learned to do was to, after you put it like this, then you're going to turn it over, and you're going to put a little clear piece of tape. So just take a little piece of tape, clear, doesn't have to be clear, it could be the paper tape. And you're just going to cut a small piece of it, and you're going to put it on the back of your registration marks right there. I've already done that, but I'll do it again. Right there. So now that's not sticky. This is sticky still, and I don't want to do it all the way across because I want this to be able to stabilize this. So here's what I have, and now what I do is I take my other piece, I would do my red on my blue first, and I would line these up. Now, because I have tape on the back of those registration marks, I can line them up exactly. Now you got to be careful over here because I should have made this paper longer, but I didn't. Okay, you got to line those up exactly. Okay, and once you have those right where you want them, okay, and this part's still sticky, so it's on there. Okay, so I'm going to take this, I'm going to move my computer so I can do it down here. I'll move my camera just a little bit so you can see it a little better. Okay. So you would want to do this on a surface that was nice and steady. Okay, so I'm going to line these up exactly. Oops, I did not mean to put that down there. Yep. And sometimes it helps if this is like sticking up like that, just to take some tape and hold this down so it's, you know, stable down there. So you have it stuck on the tape on the table like this. So there's my piece, the second piece that I'm going to use. Now, when I saw another video to do this, they didn't put the tape behind it, but I found that I wasn't that good, and I would get it messed up in there because I would stick those on there and they wouldn't be exactly lined up, and then I couldn't do anything about them. So then I'm going to line these up exactly. Okay, once you do that, you lay this on there. You can adjust it then because you have tape on the back of your little marks. Just like that. Okay, then pick up this piece right here. Take this off. So now you've taken off your backing paper and you have your red layer. And because your registration marks are right there, when you lay that back down, it's going to be exactly where you want it to be. Okay, so now I have 3 layers. I have the white layer that I need too. So now I have my transfer paper. It's on this one, but these stars, my blue stars, are going to be sticky still, or my blue plus signs are going to be sticky. So I'm going to take this off here. Well, first let's put that down like that. Okay, and you're going to pull this all the way off. And now you're going to move this. You don't really, I guess, actually need those registration marks there. You can just get rid of those. Okay, because your registration marks are still on here because they're in the red. And you're going to put your paper so that it's right below your registration marks. Okay. And again, my registration marks I've taped, so they're not sticky. Okay, and now I have this piece that has the 2 colors, and now I have this white sheet that I want it to go on. So I'm going to lay this white sheet down here, and I'm going to, I'm going to tape that down so it doesn't move, just to hold it. It has to buckle up. I'm going to take this piece, and I'm going to take those registration marks and line them up with the other registration marks. Real masking tape would work better than mine. So just line these up again. So now I got my white, and put my red right on it. Okay, once you have it, because that's sticky in between, that will help support it. Now, just make sure that stays down. Bring this back. Peel that back off. And then just lay it back down. And once you do that, your image should be lined up. And I see I didn't. Okay, sorry, I was working kind of cockeyed there, but see how my registration marks weren't lined up? So when they weren't lined up, then I got a little bit of white here on the edge. But if your registration marks are lined up exactly, like this one's lined up exactly, that's why this side is all lined up right. And then you have your image. So that's the way I do it, so it makes it a little bit easier. Then I can reposition it, and I just got in a little bit of a hurry there and didn't notice that that wasn't lined up very good. But if it's lined up, then everything's going to line up that way. And then you just have to figure out what you want on top and what you want on the bottom. And keep going layer by layer. And that's how I do my layering. Bye.